Behind every brand, every movement, every leader, every transformation, there's a story. And intertwined in these stories is a message. And this podcast is for you, the next gen leader, coach, entrepreneur, and influencer. My name is Travis Brady, and I'm a branding mentor and sales story strategist. I hope you see me more of a guide than a host as I share the stories behind the brands, so you can take these stories, experiences, principles, and teachings and use them to share your story with the world. What's the story behind authentic sales? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm super excited about this conversation, and we got the queen herself in authentic sales. She's an authentic sales coach, Jana Niksa. 2 times best-selling author, has had over 40,000 sales calls, which is a lot. How many years have you been doing this, Jenna?
I started officially in sales in 2001, but I actually knocked doors before that, which is another fun story.
Yeah. I think knocking doors or
So I
phone.
started when I was 8, just in
Okay.
case anybody needs to know.
Hey, I guess you can count my selling candy bars for sponsorship when I was playing baseball when I was young too.
So-
Yep, they're only $1. They're only $1.
Yeah. So just to kind of touch on that, my very first sales job was in college. It was just one of those things I was meant to go in. I think it's the reason I actually got the real good sales job. And I was just screwing around because my boyfriend at the time was selling newspapers door to door. And he's like, "Do you want to come?" And it was an all guy crew. And I was like, "Sure." And then I ended up like selling, overselling everybody else. And it was just so interesting because, of course, they blamed it on the fact that I was a girl and all these things. But I even actually went one day, Travis, in just sweatpants, like gross, just like whatever, and I still outsold them.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. Well, fill in the gaps a little bit about your background and your story.
Sure. So just, I don't usually talk about that story, but it's come up a little bit recently. So I really feel like that's kind of what catapulted me to my very first sales job, which was not one of those jobs you can typically get right out of school. But I just so happened to have some pretty solid sales experience on a whim. And what I found when I first got in there was I was terrified. Like I really can actually put myself back in the shoes of someone who it's like, "You want me to do what? With what? Like, what am I doing here?" And the way they train, this was like I said, I was 8 years old. So this was like a long time ago in 2001. And they really, it was like that traditional, like ABC, always be closing, like don't take no for an answer. And the first thing they asked after they offered me the position is they said, "Do you want to go to Mississippi or do you want to go to Florida?" And I was like, "I'll go to Florida." Thank
Good
you.
for you.
And the reason I mentioned that is I was 9 hours from anybody I knew, and I would cry every day. Like I was like, "What am I doing? Like this is not who I am. Everybody's running from me. Like I'm some slimy salesperson. Like how did this happen?" And I was failing miserably. Um, so that went on for a while, and then around a few years actually of just really like very humbling. A hurricane unfortunately hit my territory, and it took out about half of the offices that were my accounts. And so in that moment, as absolutely devastating it was, and it was very devastating, um, there was another thought that entered into my mind, and it was, well, they can't fire you now. That would be really not cool, like fire the girl whose territory just got hit by a hurricane. And so the reason I tell this story is for really this particular realization that's actually available for everyone. And in that moment, I go, well, why don't I just do it the way I want to do it? And that changed everything. That was just a few years into my career. And then it didn't matter where I went. It didn't matter the company. And if you've ever been in sales, all of us will blame the company, the product, the territory. And none of that mattered. It didn't matter where I was, what I was selling, who I was working for. This authentic way of showing up and actually caring about the person in front of me far more than the dollar sign and actually believing that. I know a lot of people say that, but a lot of people don't embody that. It changed everything. And that's a big part of the peace and the piece, I guess, that I want to impart upon your audience and that I afford to my clients is you don't have to be some pushy salesperson. Like you don't have to do it the way everybody teaches you. And so that was kind of the beginning of my story. But there's a whole nother side to that story once I went online. But that's where the authentic sales coach was born.
Okay. When did you actually get into coaching? When did you actually go, I'm going to actually teach people about this because I feel like there's a need with this niche.
Yeah. Okay. So to answer that question, I have to back up a little bit, and I promise I'll be brief for everybody. Is I went through sort of an awakening, and this is what I can call it. Some of you will understand exactly what I mean. Some of you may not, and that's okay. In about 2012, 2013, in that time frame. And there was this looming, very clear voice and very clear knowing that there was more for me. And I was like, really? Like, this is so easy. I've already just had my second child. Like, I barely work. Hopefully, none of my old bosses are listening to this. And I do really well. But it was just, it was a calling. And if you got an audience full of entrepreneurs, we all know what that is. Like, can't
Mhm.
ignore that. I didn't choose it. It chose me. And so then I had to exit gracefully, courtesy of my husband. Because if it were me, I probably would have just quit the next day and just been off to the races. But he was like, can we like slow your roll a little bit? And so I just started taking like NLP courses. I got really fascinated with personal development and our human potential. And so I would fill all of my extra time with hypnosis and the quantum and understanding how we create reality. And to this day, I think you probably know, I've alluded to it when we talked before, like it is so important to me. And so I did all of that for quite some time, did a lot of the healing work and those sorts of things. And then there came one day where I was working with my first coach, and we've all had this moment of like, what's your niche? And I'm like, well, I see, here's the thing. I have this enormous amount of sales experience, 40,000 sales calls, right? Of
Mhm.
this different way of doing sales that most people don't know about, much less teach. However, my passion is this human potential and like reality creation and all. And this beautiful coach at the time was like, why don't you do both? And so that was like really when the whole authentic sales coach came to fruition. So yeah, I like to say I mix the woo and the do.
The woo and the do. I like. Hey, I'm all about the woo. You know, I
Good.
I think there's a good mix between the corporate and the woo that need to be, mixed together. So I love that. What do you feel like, I feel like people are usually in one of these four categories. So the first one is they really shy away from the sales conversation. They think that sales is slimy. They don't want to try to pressure people, right? And then I think you got the next people who, they're all about sticking to the script and the lines and those are not that NLP is bad, but I think people take it to an extreme level of the NLP and they lose the emotion and their heart and their tone through the way because they think it's just a line, which I think they don't really understand communication, which is less than 10% of your impact of your communication is through your words, right? And then I think you got warriors that just go out and it's a push and it's a doing it. And then I think there's a other category who understand like the bigger picture of coming to a place where believing in the service, believing the product, understanding where the script needs to stay in alignment, but without being robotic. But then they also have this drive to like push, but not in a hard way, but in a loving way. And what I've learned more about sales, the thing I've learned most about sales is it requires you to be so brutally honest
Mhm.
to a level that I don't think most people can be. That's what I think it is. And I think we stick in the middle and we don't really go into the contrast of what I say. So I've worked with a lot of coaches too. So anyways, what are some of the things that you feel like your clients get stuck at? What are some of the things that you find yourself helping people when they come to work with you?
Well, because of my brand and probably how I present myself, I don't get a lot of the like, let's go, like let ABC always be closed kind. But I do get a lot of the, especially ladies who are just afraid to go there in the fear of being slimy and the fear of being pushy. And the interesting thing is, I've actually never thought of it that way, but it is about being honest and being, I always talk about being able to hold space and stay with them, like stay with them. Don't get in and don't get your ego in there, like be with them. And that is it. And for a lot of people, if you don't know how to do that, or if you have some sort of belief that that's like pushy or salesy, when really what it is helping them make the decision they already desire to make,
Mhm.
but they're afraid.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I've told people even on sales calls of like, I'll tell you exactly what I'd tell my own child. Like if you're asking for advice, like that's how brutally honest I want to be because I want to see people win. And if I know I can help them, I want to do what I can to help them feel good about that because I know in this space, unfortunately, there are people that just want to like wham bam, thank you, ma'am, take the money and run. And so people are a lot more skeptical. And I especially find that with those that don't understand sales and think it's slimy. There's definitely more than one way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. People categorize me as the branding guy, the brand alchemist, the story documentary dude. Really, one of the biggest things I help my clients with is how to tie the brand in through the sales process and create a streamlined sales process. One of my favorite questions to ask people is when is the best time to overcome an objection?
I love this one because
What?
as soon as you said that, if you're saving all of your sales for the sales call, you have enormously missed the boat.
Mhm.
You need to be planting those seeds all throughout your content, all throughout your conversations like this, like wherever you are in a public facing place, like that's where sales begins. And so I have to preface that because that doesn't mean you're out there like, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. But if you know how to sell without selling, and what I like to say is, make your content the entire intention is like, what do they need to understand and believe in order to see me as the solution? Then the whole thing is a sales process. Like it or not, it's all sales. And when you can start to see that ultimately sales is really paying really close attention, being a great listener, and then knowing how to effectively communicate.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't say manipulate, I didn't say push, I didn't say convince, but it's those other pieces. And then people feel safe to make that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I tell people the old saying is ABC, the new saying is ABD. Have you ever heard that before?
No, tell me.
So old saying always be closing, right? That
Yeah,
doesn't,
no, yeah.
doesn't really work anymore. The new saying is ABD, always be disarming. Most
Mm.
people are going to have their guards up, right? Because they don't want to be sold. No one likes to be sold, but people do love to buy things. And so when you're disarming and you allow yourself to get into the conversations, then that's when your ability to actually sell goes up through the roof. So that's one thing I've really been teaching people a lot lately. And then the other thing I've been telling them is be willing to tell people when they're not a good fit.
Oh, yes.
And we've been building a men's mastermind here in Arizona called the Brotherhood, and I've been on probably more sales conversations in the last year than probably the previous three combined, which is great. But also, it scoped to me a new level, and that's probably been one of my biggest epiphanies: is be willing to tell people that, hey, you're not a good fit here,
Yep.
and helping them move forward in whatever aspect that may be. And so we're bringing on setters right now, and we're training the same thing. Like, you have to be bold enough to tell someone that they're not a good fit, or uh or taking it away, because it possibly might not be a good fit. But what that does for your confidence is when someone is a good fit, now you feel the conviction of your voice of you're actually being honest. And that's why I say we have to be brutally honest. And I think sometimes in the past, I wasn't willing to say, hey, you're not a good fit for this. You know what I mean? So that's been, and what I've noticed through the years, as well, is when I don't identify that and tell them that, I end up hitting a wall in the future, and they end up not working with me anyway. So I might as well, go and do that.
Absolutely. Well, they say the heart doesn't lie. And when it also doesn't flip-flop like your brain. And so if you learn to cultivate the ability to listen, when it's not a good fit. And it's just as much an audition for you as it is for them. And so it's a two-way street. And the interesting thing, as the universe would have it, when you are open to saying no because you feel very confident in your ability to deliver to the right person, so interesting when I have my clients really step into that pro level,
Mhm.
then it's like there's four behind. It's almost like a test, I swear. It's like, no, this is not a good fit. I'm going to refer you here, there, whatever, like so lovingly, so held. But then it's like, because of that, all of a sudden you get like four dream clients. It's like you passed the test. But it's just so interesting because when we can cultivate the ability to lead with our heart and make decisions for the highest good of all, like the way everything sort of rearranges in your space to support that is so powerful. And that's why I'm not going to get on my soapbox for just one thing. That's why
Let's
it's
do it.
so mind boggling to me that this traditional way, this manipulative, like lower your voice and blah, 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 and all these things, it's so self-serving. And I cannot believe it's even lasted as long as it has because it's not about you, it's about them.
Yeah. I think when you are in a good frequency, you have your mindset and your brand on the vision. And a personal brand is kind of counterintuitive. It's not really about you. I mean, it's about you, but it's for the other people. A personal brand is not, say, look at me. It's, hey, here's what I see and here's my mission, and come join me along with it. And so people have this misarranged idea. And so when we try to get taught these NLP things, which is why I'm kind of against them, is because you're kind of now starting to go against the heart and be more manipulative, right? Your chat GPT information is cheaper than ever before, right? There's nothing artificial about the human intelligence. And so I think that was something I've noticed over the years, is like the importance of being in a good space yourself. Are you hydrated? Did you get enough sleep? Did you go to the gym? Jana, I don't know what it is. I can't operate if I don't go to the gym. It's just crazy. I just can't operate. And maybe it's a mindset thing, because truly I can go a day without the gym, but I just don't. You know what I mean?
I do. I do. We just got a new puppy and
So did we. Did you hear it barking in the background?
I didn't, but
I was telling
sad
I
to
was
say
telling
when
those
you
like, oh,
said
shut
that
the door,
about
shut the door.
when you were like, I have to go to the gym, I'm like, I do too. But even more so, I'm experiencing it right now with this puppy. Like, if you don't run that energy out of that thing, it will bite and
Yeah.
chew things to
What kind of puppy did you
death.
get?
We already have an Aussie, so we got another Aussie. We were just in love. What did you get?
So I'm partial to labs, so I got a lab. Ours passed away about 3 months ago. and I did a whole podcast on it and everything I learned, through my dog and just the power. What I learned too about from my dog about sales is just the power of listening and just holding space for people.
Yes. Well, this has been said many, many times, but I don't think for a lot of people it hits until you let it. And that is people really do just need to be seen, heard, and validated. Like so often we're overtalked. Our emotions, our feelings don't matter. We're wrong for having them. We got to suck it up and whatever it is. And when you can just be that, I've even actually was sharing this on my stories a few weeks ago. I got a thank you note in the mail of all things from somebody I did a sales call with.
Nice.
Like that's how beautiful you can serve somebody
Mhm.
truly when you take yourself out of the equation.
Yeah.
Because if you let that ego part of you back in, the one that wants to control and is all attached and all of the things that are like kryptonite to a
Yeah.
sales call, you really have to learn how to separate yourself from that. And then you can, like we were talking about before, like you can go there with people because they can feel your heart on
Mhm.
it, and if I know you're lying to yourself about I'm going to do it later because later is just the magical time where I have more time. Like we're going to talk about that
Yeah.
because I need you to see the fallacy in that.
Mhm.
Not for me, but for you, because
Yeah.
it's clearly like it's an illusion because we're
Mhm.
never going to get to that magical time where we have more than 24 hours in a day. So, the time is now. But again, not from this isn't about me
Mhm.
because I want you to have the business success and everything. I want you to live your vision. I want everybody to truly be able to step into the version of themselves that they came here to be. I mean, that's my ultimate mission.
How many people do you think out there say they're good at sales but are actually not good at sales? Like I feel like there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, I'm good at sales," but how many, I mean, yeah, I don't know if that question's even making sense. I just feel like, I look back on my journey and I remember back in 2010, I jumped onto this new this new training facility, and all month long I didn't get one client, and I almost gave up. It was really a really probably one of the toughest moments, and I think just the whole way I was approaching the sales was more about here's what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna get you to your goals. I'm gonna do this. And so my sales was more about me, focused on me, than it was focused on them. Talk to us a little bit about that and some questions and some tactics or something I want to learn. I want to learn from you as well. I want to jump into some really good stuff here.
Yeah. So how do I think a lot. So if you're talking from a sales perspective, like somebody that trains for sales, how do they think they're good at sales or not? I'll answer that and then I'll answer it for just the normal coach that's selling their product. I can tell if somebody's actually knows what they're talking about based on the type of training that they're doing. Because a lot of it's regurgitated and a lot of it's, what we've been talking about, right? Like forceful, manipulative, fear-based, egoic type sales. But here's the interesting thing. When I meet somebody that understands what I'm talking about, like I feel like you do, but when I meet somebody that doesn't, like they just kind of glaze, and I'm like, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. But when somebody's picking up what I'm laying down about the energetics, about the true service, not lip service, and like all of these pieces, and they really get it, then I know that they've gone there with somebody in sales. But so many people don't give themselves permission to really go there. It's like, I got to do the script. And if I get off script, then, I don't know. They're just really in fear over getting it right, which by default means they're up in their head, which is not where you want to be on a sales call. It's really not. It's about being in your body. So, I mean, I guess that would be one of my first tips is, rule number one in sales is non-attachment. And again, that's easier said than done, right? But the only thing you really have to do to be not unattached is recognize when you're up here and move back into your heart. Because up here, like I was saying before, or maybe I should say up in your head is there's duality. And so there's this constant chatter of you didn't do this right, do this, blah, 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 blah. Like it's just like this, I call it the mean girl in our head, but it's the inner critic. And when that's going, then you can bet you're not in a good place. And so that's the ego. I'll break this down too. So how do you know when you're an ego? If you're in the doer, I do all the things to make all the things happen. If you're in the control and attachment, like I have to have it like go this way or else, like that's all egoic energy. And so if you're in that on the sales call, you have just opened up like a can of worms of fear. Energetically, your client is going to feel that. You can fake it till you make it until the cows come home. But like you were saying before, it's not what you say, it's who you are when you say it. And
Mhm.
so, in order to remain neutral, truly, and unattached, you have to stay in your heart because your heart is not, the polarity doesn't exist there. And so, when you're in your heart, you can actually remember the intention of the conversation, which is I'm here for them. This isn't about me. Breathe into my heart, regulate my nervous system, ground myself. And here's your other really important piece into the present moment. Because the other thing there where the ego cannot exist is in the present moment. The only power it has is to project some future that you don't have. Like I always say, when you get into, oh my gosh, if this doesn't close, I'm going to be living in a van down by the river, like that kind of. So now you're in the future, which is not where you need to be. So you come back to the present moment, or the ego lives in the past, and that's where it's playing, blame and shame and that really fun game. And so to answer the question that I get all of the time, how do I do that? Easier said than done, Janet. Well, you drop into your heart, you breathe, you open, you soften, you relax, you ground, and you are present.
Mhm.
And you remind yourself of what you're actually doing there.
Yeah.
And that I guarantee you may have to do it 1,000 times on a sales call to stay there, but it gets easier the more you do it.
As I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, man, there was this really good habit I got into, and I got away from it, and I'm seeing if I can find it on my computer now. It was like it was my sales declaration.
Oh, that's
It
like an
was like,
intention.
I help people make the right decision. I'm here to serve my greater purpose. I'm helping
Yeah.
them move forward in whatever aspect that may be for me, whether if it's with me or not. I can't remember. I need to find this
Yeah,
um,
that's good.
Bell's declaration. I need to get back to that because I was reading that every single time. Let's see if I can find it. Nope, I just um,
Well, while you're looking, I'll tell everybody just a really simple one that I tell my clients, which is the highest good for all. It's not about me. Like I release what I want and what I think should happen and all of that to the highest good for all.
yeah, law of detachment is kind of
Yeah.
what reminds me is yeah, the law of attachment. How would you define the law of attachment?
Well, I mean, the law really we want to be detached. The law of attachment is back to that egoic piece, right? Like we think we know better than the divine orchestration of the reality we live in. And so when you're attached to something, by definition, it means you don't have it. You want it. It's wanting energy. And the universe always says yes. So it's like, okay, you want. You want, yes, here's your wanting. And
Good
when we
reminder.
are not attached, that's why they say, like, when I gave up on looking for love, my soulmate found me, or when I
Mhm.
finally stopped doing X, Y, and Z, it all fell in. And it's because when we put it on that pedestal, we're by definition reflecting the energy that we don't have it and that we're not it. And you are it. And so that's what's reflected back to you. And the only way you have to close that gap is by just releasing. Like either it's already done, what is it's all whatever's meant to be is meant to be. And like I said, the highest good for all. And for anybody that's like, but then how do you get them to yes? seems counterintuitive, but when you release and you don't force, all of a sudden everything blossoms and just kind of opens up.
Mhm.
And it's very much energetically like it's just a symphony of like just how to really effectively communicate and like you said, hold space for people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I found it here. I think it's
Oh,
a
you
little
got it. Okay,
older
good.
one. I am here to help this person see the value and belief in the self. My job is to shine a light on how powerful they are. My job is to trust them, to hold space. I am a high level coach that empowers others to tap into their own power to be successful. I detach to outcomes. I can say one thing that would change their life. Let's see. I change lives through influence and inspiration. I'm here to guide themselves back and transform themselves in this world. I'm capable of helping. I am enough. I have enough knowledge. I have enough insight. I have enough expertise, and I know how to help this person. That's an older one. There's a newer one that I have that I feel like is so much better. Um, anyways, shifting gears. Here's as my puppy comes in right here. We got to show
Oh,
a little puppy.
oh, so cute.
Yeah.
So
Um,
much work.
yep. So much more for sure. How old's your puppy?
Oh my gosh, 9 weeks.
9 weeks. Okay, yeah, he's about there too. Yeah. We're going. Lines, but some of your favorite questions to ask lines, but what are some of your favorite questions to ask lines, but what are some of your favorite questions to ask people? What are your favorite closes to use? Give me some of your yeah, give me some of your next level stuff for the audience.
Well, again, it's for me, it's not what you say, but skin in that game. Like the doctor's office. Like there's as simple as going to the doctor's office. Like there's no skin in that game. Going to the doctor's office. Like there's no skin in that game. Like the doctor's not like, let me see where I can make this thing go, right? Like you're coming in, at first you want to frame the call and build the rapport. And that's really important because some people just want to sign out. Like don't just hand. Figure just fine. Figure it out. Like don't just show up beforehand. Figure it out. Like don't just show up blind.
Yeah.
And also, if we want to talk about the energy, because I like the woo and the do pieces, like ground yourself beforehand. Like say something beautiful like you just read to everybody. Like remember what you're really doing here. Don't just like willy-nilly hop on the call after like rushing around to do a bunch of things because you're not going to show up right. All right. So then the next piece is like I'm always looking for that common ground. Something I love to talk about is being a mom. Like that immediately, if you're a female, like it's like you start to bond there. But just find some ways that you can, and don't make it about the weather. Like do your homework, make it more specific so that you guys can, because there's something that we do as humans when it's like, oh my gosh, you're that too. Like immediately there's energetically that bond there. And so find those opportunities, whether it's looking at their stories or going through their content or going on their website. But beyond that, back to the whole doctor analogy, because we want to have a good bedside manner. The next thing is it's really casual in my world. I
Mhm.
do something called a flow cell framework. And the
Mhm.
first part of that framework is like, what made you book a call today? Like, tell me what's going on. And it's just that curiosity. Like, I don't even know if I can help you.
Mhm.
Right. So I don't have an agenda here. Like, I
Mhm.
just need to understand, just like a doctor would, like, what's happened. So I think some more important questions than that are like, how long? What have you tried? And really you want to get as much information here as possible because that is what you're going to use when you pitch at the end.
Yes, that's what I've been talking to him is all is like if you're struggling at the end is because you didn't do your due diligence at the beginning of the conversation and really understand
Yeah.
what's important to them, what's their problems right now.
What
And so,
did, what did they not like about what they did so that
yeah.
you can make sure you talk about how you don't do that? You know
Mhm.
what I mean? If you don't have it, I don't love the word ammunition, but I mean, you want all of those pieces
Mm,
because it is ammunition when you go to present your offer. Like, I'm going to present my offer fully based on this part of the conversation.
mhm,
Not, I don't present, it is not a pitch. You know
mhm.
what I mean? Like if you told me your offer is awesome, you don't need any work with it, you've never met anyone that had a better offer, then when I go to pitch, I'm not going to talk about the fact that I can help you create an incredible offer, right? Like I'm going to skip to, you know how you said you have a great offer, but your whole problem is you don't know actually how to share about it in a way that deeply resonates with your ideal client. That's what we're going to do. You know what I mean? And so that beginning piece isn't about you getting through the questions. It's about giving you a really good snapshot of all the things they've tried, what they liked, how long this has been going on, how ready are they to do something about it. And so that's really what you're doing there to make sure that you have a really good understanding of why they are where they are. Then we move into the next phase, right? Okay, now we know where you are. Where do you want to go? Like
Yep.
what's standing in the way? That's probably one of the most important pieces because if your offer solves that and you're really good at demonstrating that at the end, then there's no reason why they wouldn't buy. So just really taking those questions, taking them through that journey. And then most importantly, I can't stress enough, don't make it about the questions, make it about that information so that you can tie it into your pitch at the end.
Yeah.
So I guess
So
yeah, go ahead.
give us behind the scenes of your sales process. What are some things that you're doing to upgrade your sales process?
So meaning like on the sales call itself or like
Just
actually
like
booking calls,
the whole system. Yeah, your
the
whole
whole system.
yeah, from
So for my
marketing
client,
to yeah.
I'll do my clients and then I'll do me.
Sure.
What I do with my clients, I will get on my soapbox on this. I believe that a lot of coaches come into this space thinking that they have to be an influencer, a ninja copywriter, they have to be omnipresent, they have to be, a landing page expert. Like the list is crazy amounts of stuff. And what I try to do with them first and foremost is like, that's not it. Like, not yet. A lot of that stuff is scaling stuff. Like, we're not going to automate things that aren't working yet. Like, can you see how that doesn't make sense? So, what we do and what I believe is a missing gap for a lot of people is skill set. And what I mean by that is people create offers they want to teach instead of the offer that their ideal client wants to buy, which can be simply done with a little bit of research and validation in the market. So we're going to be actual business owners about this instead of like, I need to heal the world and I'm going to teach everybody how to be joyful. No, we're going to actually go and figure out like, okay, you want to teach joy. How can we actually package that in a way that somebody's actually going to purchase it? So like, that's the first part, right? You got to nail that. The easier you put it to offer, the more work you do on that front end and understanding that, the easier it all gets, the easier it is to sell. But it doesn't stop there. The second piece of the sales process, in my mind, is learning how to communicate about it effectively. And I don't care where you do that, but you need to understand how to open up gaps. You need to understand how to create that curiosity. You need to understand what makes people jump through a sales process and make that part of your conversation. You need them to want to know more, right? And that's done through really good messaging. You're shifting beliefs in those messaging, and you're also overcoming objections in those in your messaging. So then, once that's all nailed down, what I do with my clients is they get good enough at that they just invite people to a sales call. So what that looks like instead of like a flat out sales call is I have them do what I call a mini solution call. Like, what's one piece of something that you offer that you could help them with on this call? And this is really, really, really important. Make sure you're very clear with them. If it makes sense and they're open to it, that you'll share more about how you work with people or how you support people. And so it's so simple. Notice I didn't say landing page, I didn't say email, I just said, get a really good offer, learn how to communicate about it. I don't care where you do it, and invite people to a mini solution call. And if
Love
they're
it.
open to it, sell to them your offer. right? So I find that that's the easiest, most basic way from the start. Now, my sales process at this point is a little more complicated than that, but that's how I started. Now, mostly what I will do, same stuff on the front end, like get a freaking offer together that they want to buy, not the one you want to teach. Learn how to communicate, make some really good, valid points about it so that people are like, you know what? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I actually want to know more. And then because you know your market, create an event, a masterclass, a challenge. I'm going to do a boot camp in September, something that you can bring them all together and do a one-to-many event. But that comes once you've learned how to actually close one-to-one, because a one-to-many close is a little more advanced.
Yeah.
And so I just find that a lot of people are putting the cart before their horse. They're creating landing pages and doing all of these scaling activities when really what they need are the three skill sets that I teach. Um, how convenient. But no,
Yeah.
the point is there's stages and steps to building a business, and no one gets to skip steps.
Yeah. It's true.
All
Yeah.
right,
I
I'm
tell people, I
done.
was like,
And scene.
yeah, no, it was great. Great, really great advice. I love your angle on it as well. I told my clients that are just starting out, I was like, listen, we're putting together the documentary, to really build a relationship with you and overcome those objections before we get to the conversation. I think it's important. We do need the landing page. We do need the testimonials. We do need the automation that shows your level of professionalism. But listen, I broke six figures just by getting out a piece of paper, sitting down in front of someone and saying, hey, here's how I can help you, and scribbling the numbers and how I help
Yes.
them on a piece of paper, and they see it and they move forward. So I think exactly what you're saying. The funnels, all those things aren't going to necessarily make up for that lack of skill, but they'll definitely
No.
add. And I think you're always increasing. You should always be doing something to make your entire sales process. I think you need to get better at overcoming those last few objections to close. I think you need to be better at listening and doing those trial closes. I think you need better automations leading up to the session in a form that helps you understand the person. I think you need a documentary. I think you need a PowerPoint showcasing all the program and what it entails. But I think that, like you were saying, I think it all goes back to the very, very core of, can you get into your heart? Can you look someone in the eye, and can you speak with your truth of how you can actually serve them and fucking mean it?
Yeah.
And fucking mean it too. And my business means a lot to me. I go on vacation, I think about my business. I'm laying in night, I think about my business. I'm at the movies, I'm thinking about metaphors of how do I share, within my business. And
Yeah.
so I think you have to be obsessed, not to sound like Grant Cardone, dude, you got to be obsessed or be average, man. But you got to be
You do.
obsessed.
We are a little bit delusional and a little crazy,
Yeah. Last
like in a
question
good
before we wrap.
way.
Last question before we wrap things up. Who sells better, women or men?
Oh,
Let's talk a little bit about this.
oh, I wish I didn't have to be so typical and say, so there's there's two ways to answer this. Right now, who's more confident? Who's more convicted? Men.
Okay.
Truly. Whether they're faking it till they make it, or, a lot of people, a lot of guys are raised with that, which is beautiful.
Mhm.
Um, who do I think innately has better communication skills, better connection skills, better empathy?
Mhm.
Women. But we're also conditioned to not be too loud, not be
Mhm.
too visible, not go for what we want. Like I think a lot of that's changed over the years, but I do believe that that's, in our DNA, like it's there. Like these are things that I deal with, like imposter syndrome with my clients, or having a money conversation. Like guys are like, sure, let's talk. 100K, let's go. And
Mhm.
women are like, oh, 2K, you know? And so I think it's both, and I think it depends, but I think that both could learn from each other.
Mhm.
And the biggest problem women have is the first customer you have to sell is you, to
Mhm.
you. And for some reason that has I had a lady there, she's like, but that's like conceited and prideful. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And so some of that, there's a lot of stuff standing in the way for women, I think, to be who they could really be on a sales call or in a sales conversation. And so that is my indirect, very gray, not black and white answer.
You're so, you're so funny. Yeah, I would say you take a seasoned vet man and you take a seasoned vet woman, and I think the women will crush the guys, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just going salesperson to salesperson, like back in my career,
Mhm.
absolutely, it was the women.
Yeah.
Like once they got it, but see, that's a different type of woman than
Mhm.
the ones that are selling in business. Like it takes a specific type of lady to be like, I'm career sales, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Versus your average coach or service provider. Like they may not have those qualities. Like I have a lot of masculine qualities, and so I totally agree with you there. But I think
Yeah.
it gets a little more gray when
Yeah.
you're looking
So
at business owners.
through the branding process, we talk about the four archetypes of a brand leader. You know, a brand leader has a lover, they have a magician, they have a warrior, and they have a king or queen. And the magician and the lover is more the feminine qualities, and the warrior and the king is more the masculine qualities. And the people that we vibe with the best, the people that we love to follow, the people that influence us the most actually have a very strong yin and yang part of them. That's what I've really noticed.
That's really interesting. Tell me a little bit more. I know we're wrapping up, but I'd love to hear just a little more about that.
Yeah, you know, sales is more of a masculine type of quality, right? It's more like I got to do it. I got to get into the conversation. I got to face my fears, you know, and
Yeah.
push through it. Whereas the lover's like, no, I'm going to do what I feel like doing, and I'm going to move off more of how
Mhm.
I connect.
Yeah.
You know, the magician is about organization. It's about structure. It's like about ABC, right? And so every archetypes makes decisions off different feeling. The lover makes decisions off how they feel. A magician makes decisions based upon how they think. Does it make sense? A
Mhm.
warrior makes decisions based upon what needs done, and then a king makes decision on what's the result. So if you can answer those questions, or not what the result, they make decisions based upon who they want to ultimately be,
Mm.
right? And so the more you understand that person's archetype, like, am I talking to a lover here? Are they more feelings based? Am I talking to a warrior here where I can be a little bit more aggressive and really tell them like some hard to hear things? Are they mostly just a king? Is it mostly just about, okay, what's about becoming? And so I think that again, there's strengths from both the yin and the yang. And yeah, I just look at some of the people that are the most influential. Ed Milet has a good mixture of the yin and yang. You know, Brad Lee does. Tony Robbins, of course, he has a balance. So it's just something I've kind of noticed over the years, you know, who are the people I cling to as far as everything goes. So yeah, I wanted to add that in there. Who do you follow in sales? Like who's your like guy or girl that you like to follow that you like to learn from?
I haven't found any women that I really want to learn from. I'm just saying that. But I really do love Alex Hermosi.
I
Like
love
there's
Alex Hormozy too. He is
I
he
know
has
he's a
real
go-getter and he's crazy. But he's also like there's a lot of like he's very thorough and he cares tremendously, and it's just a really interesting combination. So I really like him for that reason, I would have to say. But I'm trying to think of some women. I mean,
there's
I
this
like
woman
his wife too.
there's this
She's awesome.
who is this? Layla or
Layla, yeah.
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 Yeah, I love Alex Hormozy. There's this woman out of Miami that's been getting a lot of attention lately, Shelby Haas or something like that. You'll have to check her out. She's very warrior type. Like like her feminine and I'm sure she has feminine. She looks very feminine, right? But she has this very warrior type energy. I've noticed her, but yeah, no disrespect to any of the women. I love women. I think they're ass, but I haven't really found a sales woman that I actually like connect
Yeah. Well,
with.
if I'm going to be completely transparent, I feel like a lot of them
Except for
are
Jana.
just,
I really like this Jana character.
yay! Is I feel like they're trying to sell like men. You know what I mean? Like they're like, I'm a female sell, or let's sell like a woman. And then it's like, but no, I'm just a girl selling like a man. And it's different. It can be different. And I mean, I work with guys too. It's not about girl boy. It's about masculine, feminine, and striking that balance. And
Sure.
if I'm being completely honest, find that there's some men out there that have struck that balance better than some of the women. I think they're trying to prove still, and they're in that like pushing, like you're saying, sort of stuff. And I don't find that, it's not my thing. Like I don't want to be in, I don't want to, somebody doesn't need to prove to me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think women are incredibly powerful in their own feminine
Yeah.
energy, and men in their own masculine energy. And anytime we start to get outside of that, those natural strengths, I think it goes against us. I heard someone say you should have a good balance of 80-20. It should be 80% your energy and 20% the opposing energy.
Yeah, I've never heard that, but I do know when you were talking about the archetypes, it reminded me of one of the very first conversations I had with my manager, which I talk about him often. He was actually my least favorite, which is so interesting. But he was hard. He scared me. But he would say, we would do those profiles. I don't think it was disc, but it was like you had the red driver and the yellow was like the bubbly personality, and
Yeah.
then you had the blue, which was analytical. Anyway, one his whole thing is you really have to meet their energy. You have to become somewhat of a chameleon. And that not from like a manipulation standpoint, but if you're dealing with somebody that's all data, like you're not speaking about sales calls, could be like, so your daughter, like, I mean, there's like, just get down to it. You know what I mean? And you have to learn how to pick up on that, because some people, it's like, just give me the numbers. I just want to know what's going on,
Yeah.
and so it's really, I think if we have to tie a bow on this, it's about being a really good active listener
Mhm.
and not trying to get through your agenda, but just like it's a dance with them.
Mhm.
You're leading the conversation, but they think that they're leading the conversation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So true. Okay, I love this. This was a great conversation, and I'm
Awesome.
excited to have you at Brand X. It's going on September 19th and 20th. We're going to have a really cool after party as well. So if you want to see what is involved with all that, go to brandxexpo.com. We still have some spots for some stages or some booth opportunities. So excited to have you. Okay. If you feel like this podcast can benefit someone, which I know someone can benefit from, please copy the link. It should be in the corner or right below, somewhere on the screen. Click the copy link, send it to someone. Okay. As always, be inspired what you do. You have a story that can transform the world. Go out and do it. Good talk.
Hey, you have a story to share with the world, which means you need to get on more life stages. We have a jam-packed schedule in 2024 full of events, including our biggest event year to date, Brand X. Go to benextgen.com/speak. Again, benextgen.com/speak. Or you could just click the link in the description. Fill out an application. Our team will reach out to you and show you how our speaker partnership works. Get on a stage, get video, blow up your brand, blow up your business. Let's go.